We're here today at CoralVue's main facility, and we want to show you the display and what it's become, and then maybe we'll take you around back and show you the equipment room as well. But one of the fun things about this design was that with the tank completely in the space that was already framed out for the equipment room, it would have made it incredibly cramped for the equipment. So the obvious solution was to push the tank out into the lobby, but to cantilever it on a structure that would accommodate that. And what you'll see when we go into the lobby is the way it's designed with the narrow windows on the end, it gives you the impression that the majority of the tank is actually unsupported, which is actually not the case. So it looks like most of the tank is unsupported, just hanging over open air, supported by 5 cables up at the top header. But the structure extends all the way into the fish room, is secured with 28 6-inch, half-inch stainless steel anchors into the concrete. Here we are in front of the 1,200-gallon display at CoralVue. This is right inside the front doors, so it's the first thing you see when you walk into the building. And the display itself is about 950 gallons. The total system volume is about 1,200. That includes a very large refugium, a massive sump, which you'll see when we go into the back. At this moment, we probably have about, many of them hiding in the rocks, but about 90 to 95 fish. Ideally, we'd like to see probably a couple hundred chromis and another 100 or so anthias. I think we're pretty well rounded out on the tang gang, including a dozen biota yellow tangs that started out at about quarter size in diameter. The wrought iron is a new addition. And as far as the coral goes, David is very much a stickhead. Those of you in the hobby know what that means. Those of you that don't, that means an affinity for Acropora, which is a reef building species. They come in a variety of different colors and shapes and sizes. There are hundreds of different species. They require extremely high flow, high light. In this system, we have 2 Abiz AFC 150s, which are one of their, actually it is their smallest flow cannon, but there's still 18,000 gallons an hour at maximum output. And as you can see, there is no support under the front of the tank. This is cantilevered onto structural fiberglass, which is secured with both stainless steel and titanium fittings and anchored into the concrete floor with 28 6-inch, half-inch diameter anchors. As far as ongoing development for the system, the objective is to just continue adding a greater variety of SPS, LPS, Euphyllia species across the front, along with mushrooms and zoanthids, and then just build it out. The tank appears to have sand in it, but it isn't actually sand because with these 2 AFC pumps, there is no way that it would stay in place. So we used a combination of pond armor, which was color matched to wet Carib Sea Fiji pink. And then the sand itself was dried completely. The epoxy was applied to the bottom of the acrylic tank after sanding it with 60 grit sandpaper. And then the sand was just poured on top of it until you saw no more wet spots. So you give the appearance of a sand bed without having to worry about it blowing all over the place and just exposing the acrylic bottom. The system is illuminated with a dozen Coral Care LEDs. These are suspended by a truss that, of course, has a couple of electric winches. And we're really happy with its development. It's running completely on Fauna Marin products right now. And, you know, emperors being emperors, she is definitely the queen of the tank and makes everyone else's life a little bit more difficult than it actually should be. Generally, the fish get along really well. There's very little aggression or infighting. Adult imperators are emperor angels are just normally territorial. One of the issues that I wanted to overcome with this system was the tendency recently has been for a real minimalist look in a reef tank. But because David wanted a significant fish population, we had to make sure that there were plenty of hiding places for the fish. So in order to achieve that, Titan Aquatic Exhibits, which built the tank itself, also built these platforms of my design that support the rock. These were just simply organically drawn by freehand on paper and then converted to an elevation to ensure that no two of the shelves are on the same plane. So every single shelf in here is at a different level. Once the stands were added to the system, then the rocks were placed on top of them. In some cases, they're secured with mortar, in some cases not, just depending what made most sense in that particular location. But it provides plenty of hiding places underneath the tank, swim-throughs through the middle, down through the reef. And the best thing is that it enables you to remove individual rocks, glue corals to them, and then replace them without it. And because you have a pattern underneath it, it makes it really easy to find where to put it. Because if anybody has built a reef outside of a tank and then taken it apart to put in the tank, you know that you're not going to get it back in the same way. So this facilitates that removal and replacement so it doesn't look like there's been a major change to the rock structure. We were really happy with the way this came out just because you have constant flow. There's no detritus accumulation inside the system as well at all. There is no place for it to block or get stopped. The flow from the two Abyss pumps is intense. There are several storms a day that create an incredible amount of downward flow that just pushes all of the detritus up into the coast-to-coast overflow, which extends the entire 13 feet across the back of the tank.